In the Garden with Mike Darcy is brought to you in part by Moen Machinery, a Portland tradition since 1947, Meta, the active ingredient in Corey's and Deadline, Black Gold, all the riches of the earth, and Marquee, your casual living store.
Well, here we are, early October, and there's still a lot of things blooming in the garden. So certainly fall is not only for planting, but it's for blooming, not only flowers, but texture, the whole gamut of things you might find in plants in a garden. A particular plant that I wanted to mention in my own garden is this Franklinia, which I planted about 3 years ago. It was quite small. It's grown really a lot, and you can see the flowers are just coming out right now. It's sometimes called the Ben Franklin tree. Beautiful yellow stamens in the middle, and it's got a lot of buds on it right here. You can see flower buds, so it's going to be in bloom for quite a while. But we don't have a lot of trees that bloom this late, and this is one of those trees that does bloom late in the season, and it also has very, very nice fall color. Might be a little hard to find, but it's worth the search. This gets a little bit of shade here, and it seems to like that, I think. So anyway, Franklinia, it's blooming now, lots of buds, so I'm still going to get a lot of color. As we walk up through the garden here, we talked about hardy fuchsias last week on the show. They're wonderful plants because they just bloom and bloom all summer long. You can see this is all one plant right here, huge plant. Sometimes dies back to the ground in the winter, but comes back up every spring. And right in front of it, I have what's called Cape fuchsia. This particular one is Winchester fanfare. Hummingbirds love both. I think it's a toss-up between where the hardy fuchsia or the Cape fuchsia. And the Phygelia, if you look underneath it, you can see a little bit of yellow coming out of there. So it's really quite a pretty plant. This plant likes full sun, takes the heat unbelievably well. And after they bloom, you just cut it off, like I've cut this off right here, and you'll get new shoots coming up from here. And this would be a signal right here that this stem right here is almost done. You can see the flowers are almost off of it. So I would cut it back to right here, and then I've got new shoots coming up here, and it blooms really all summer long, spring, summer, fall. Not in the winter, but other than that, it's full bloom all the time. And as I said, hummingbirds love it. And sometimes we think about Daphnes as being a little tricky to grow, but this is one called Summer Ice. And while it doesn't have quite the fragrance of the odora, it certainly does smell good. And you can see the variegated foliage a little bit on the leaf here, hence the name Summer Ice. But here it is October. This is really, you can say, almost in full bloom, and it's been in bloom like this all summer long. So if you want a Daphne that to me is a lot hardier and less likely to die than some of the other Daphnes, this is one to get, Daphne Summer Ice, because it blooms so long. It makes a nice compact shrub as well. And another nice white flower for late summer, early fall is this Nicotiana sylvestris. This is quite a tall plant. You can see this one's about 6 feet tall, and I've had them larger before. It's in the tobacco family, huge leaves on it, and you get all these seed pods up here, and what we do is we just let them go to seed, fall on the ground, and they'll come back up again. But you get just really hundreds of seeds just from one plant. So Nicotiana sylvestris, really a summer annual. It's only good for the season, but right now it's in bloom, and in the evening you do get quite a nice fragrance from it. So they're just some things that are blooming right now in my own garden.
For a complete listing of all the plants you've seen and the places we've been, go to mikedarcy.com.